Oh hey, one more of these videos. This will probably be the last one, I promise. Anyway, let's talk Mega Evolutions. And now I guess I should take this time to give my thoughts on Mega Evolution as a whole. I personally quite like it. It's an interesting concept, adds a whole new layer of strategy to the game, and, like, in terms of the actual strategy of battles themselves, it's probably one of the most unique and original things Pokemon has done in a while, in terms of innovation, so, hey, I'm all for that. There seems to be a lot of people who just seem to hate Mega Evolution, probably just because, oh, it's different, they changed it, and stuff, and, seriously, those people are just idiots, really. I honestly cannot comprehend why anyone would dislike Mega Evolution as a concept, but yeah, anyway. However, as much as I do like the concept, I will say I do have a few problems with the application of it, and by that I mean what they gave Mega Evolutions to. Now, don't get me wrong, quite a few of the Mega Evolutions are pretty nice. They were given to Pokemon that really desperately needed a boost, like Mawile and Kangaskhan. However, there are a lot of other Mega Evolutions that pretty much show Game Freak does not care about game balance in the slightest. In fact, I'm pretty sure the vast majority of Pokemon that got Mega Evolutions were already OU to begin with, or at least had been OU at some point in their lifetime. And it just feels like, honestly, there's a bunch of Mega Evolutions here that I just feel, really? Did this Pokemon seriously need to get any stronger? And yet a bunch of other things are neglected. And yeah, I do agree, there are a few Mega Evolutions that did give some of the underpowered Pokemon a boost. But the vast majority of them were strengthening things that were already overpowered to begin with, and that I feel is not a good approach to game balance. The other thing about Mega Evolutions that I, kind of probably dislike is, again, the whole, it's more of a popularity contest thing. Game Freak did say that they were partly interested in game balance, but notice that it was the third thing on their list. The other two were things like popularity and the like. It seems they were massively more important to them than game balance because a bunch of things like Garchomp that seriously did not need to get any stronger happened to get Mega Evolutions. Not only that, but if it was a popularity contest and nothing from Gen 5 got one, oh, I feel really sad for Gen 5's Pokemon, I really do. There were some really good Pokemon in Gen 5. Seriously, even, again, like I've said before, even if it was Hydreigon or Zoroark, I'd at least be glad to see at least one Gen 5 Mega, because really, no Gen 5 Megas, really, that is a little disappointing. And yes, the main sore point I have with this that really shows that this is basically just a popularity contest was Charizard getting 2 Mega Evolutions. Now Mewtwo, I can understand it getting 2. I'm totally fine with Mewtwo getting 2 of them. Hey, it's a legendary, it's one of the most popular legendaries of all time, and it's meant to be horribly broken, so it doesn't really matter in terms of game balance. And I can actually, again, if you're gonna give it something 2 different version exclusive Megas, make it something that that everyone who plays the game is guaranteed to get, like Mewtwo, and yeah, making it a legendary sort of makes sense. Again, giving the 2 forms to a Pokemon that everyone is guaranteed to get is the real point of contention here, because the other Pokemon that got 2 Mega Evolutions is kind of a sore point for me. Now, don't get me wrong, I love Charizard's Mega Forms. However, I would be totally supportive of this if Venusaur and Blastoise got 2 forms each too. And this is actually kind of a weird thing. Charizard is in fact my all-time favourite Pokemon, which means it really says something that I still don't approve of it getting special treatment over the other 2 Kanto starters. If you're gonna give 1 out of the 3 Kanto starters the 2 Mega Forms, again, you're really feeling like you're playing the favoritism card here. Again, Charizard is my all-time favourite Pokemon, but that does not excuse leaving out the fans of Venusaur and Blastoise. I personally am not a fan of those two, but a lot of people are. They deserve to be catered to just as well as the Charizard fans. And again, that's what I'm saying. I would totally approve of the two Mega Charizards if Venusaur and Blastoise were also given the same treatment. Because seriously, if you're giving someone 3 choices out of these Pokemon, and one of them has 2 different Mega Forms, you're kind of nudging them towards one specific choice rather than the others, and that I don't really like. But anyway, that's probably enough. Let me just talk about the Mega Evolutions individually, and what I think the prospects for all of them are. So, let's begin with Mega Venusaur. Mega Venusaur is very interesting in that it's one of the more defensively oriented Megas. Its ability, Thick Fat, is actually very good on a Grass type because it's weak to both types that are reduced by Thick Fat, Fire and Ice. Not only that, its defenses get a pretty serious boost. So Mega Venusaur again, defensively minded Mega. Now, the interesting thing about this is the main reason Venusaur is so famous right now is for Chlorophyll, and again, going Mega will replace that ability with Thick Fat. You lose one of the main things that a lot of people say makes Venusaur viable in OU, and that could be a bit of an issue. However, it does lend itself an interesting playstyle. Use Chlorophyll Venusaur as an offensive attacker, but have the Mega Stone there for if you need to go defensive later, you can pull a total 180 shift in your battling style and turn into a tank at will. Again, like switching from a sweeper to a tank, basically at will. It's an interesting strategic option. And now we come to the 2 Charizards. Now, both of them are really good, both of them have their advantages and disadvantages. Again, I would have preferred, if they were going to give Charizard only one, I would have preferred use the art and typing of Mega Charizard X, but the stats and ability of Y. Mega Charizard Y is basically the well, not so much bog standard, it's more like, take what Charizard used to be and make it better. That is pretty much what it was. Give it a pretty big boost in special attack, give it the Drought ability, which will instantly trigger the moment that it goes Mega, and replace any weather that's already there, so you get a guaranteed 5 turns of massively boosted fire moves in the sun, lowered water type damage. It is pretty cool overall. Essentially, yeah, Mega Charizard Y is basically everything Charizard used to be, just made better. Mega Charizard X is a very different beast. The main benefit of Mega Charizard X is a whole new typing. Fans have been clamoring for ages to make Charizard Fire Dragon, and finally it has happened. Fire Dragon actually could not have come sooner in terms of... well, I guess Reshiram had that typing before, but hey, no one really cares about Ubers. Anyway, this typing could not have come sooner because the Fire actually negates Dragon's Fairy-type weakness. It will, however, remove your Flying type and thus make you vulnerable to Earthquake. It does, however, make you considerably less vulnerable to Stealth Rock, and Rock in general. Now, again, Charizard switching in will still take the 4 times damage from Stealth Rock anyway, but the moment that you go Mega, you are only reducing it to a 2 times weakness. Of course, Stealth Rock is still horrible, it deserves to be banned anyway, but that's another issue. But again, Mega Charizard X, its stats are kind of interesting. It's got an ability that's geared more towards physical attacking, powering up direct contact moves by 33%, I believe. And this really helps things like Outrage, Dragon Claw, Flare Blitz even, a lot of things. Now, the main application I've seen of this is Dragon Dance. I believe you have to breed to get Dragon Dance onto it, but it is kind of a useful option. You can also get Outrage onto it. I think by breeding, you might be able to get it by level up. I can't quite remember because it's been a long time since I trained a Charizard. I can't quite remember what it gets now. And it's got, again, some interesting options, but note that its special attack is still fairly decent. I mean, 130 is actually not particularly high for a Mega, but by regular standards, it's very, very good. And that means that Mega Charizard X is perfectly capable of going mixed. You saw in my main story team, I tried to take advantage of that by going for a Hone Claws set with Fire Blast as a special attacking option. Hone Claws negating the bad accuracy of Fire Blast and making it hit all the time. I guess that's actually somewhat of an option, so if you want to go mixed, maybe. Anyway, now we come to Mega Blastoise. Mega Blastoise is very unique. That's kind of a thing for a lot of these Megas. It has, like Clauncher and Clawitzer, the Mega Launcher ability, which powers up Aura and Pulse moves. Now, it doesn't learn nearly as many as Clawitzer does. It does, however, get Aura Sphere and Dark Pulse, both of which are boosted, and it can boost its own Water Pulse as well. Now, I will admit, I really don't see the justification for Blastoise learning Aura Sphere. I know it's got to work with the ability, but I just don't see it. I just don't. I mean, I reckon it would make more sense for Mega Blastoise to get some kind of ability that, like, powers up beam and cannon-based moves, and maybe give that ability to Octillery as a hidden one or something. Because there certainly are a lot of beam and cannon-based moves that Blastoise does learn, and I guess that'd sort of make a little more sense, I don't know, but still, Mega Launcher is alright for what it is, so actually it's very, very good for what it is, probably better than the beam concept. And it does give Mega Blastoise a very interesting thing it can do. It can learn Rapid Spin, but it also gets a Mega Launcher boosted Dark Pulse, which means that it's one of the few Rapid Spinners that has a move that is very threatening to Ghost types, which are usually what kind of try and kill your Rapid Spin run. So, that's actually really nice. And that's pretty much all I can say about that. Mega Alakazam is next, and whoa boy, 175 base special attack, and I thought Chandelure was ridiculous. It also has the Trace ability, like Gardevoir, and that's actually interesting. It's got a lot of unique applications on that. Of course, Trace can backfire on you in some cases, but in other cases it can be really good. The main concern with Mega Alakazam is whether or not it is worth giving up Life Orb Magic Guard for. Because with Life Orb and Magic Guard, you are giving yourself a no downsides Life Orb, and that does give you almost as much power as its Mega Form can, so I guess the main advantage is speed. Remember that, yes, Mega Alakazam still has absolutely pitiful HP and defense, so it's actually still quite frail. But that speed advantage and special attack is pretty nice. Again, the real question is whether it is worth giving up Magic Guard for. And then we come to the one that everyone's been talking about, Mega Gengar. Yep, I'll just call it right here. Chances are Smogon is going to ban this very, very, very soon. Because honestly, this thing just screams horrendously broken. For one main reason, Shadow Tag. The funny thing was, Game Freak actually realised just how bad this ability would have been on Chandelure and outright changed its hidden ability from Shadow Tag to Infiltrator. You think they've finally, caught on, they've realised how broken the ability is on something with that much attacking power. And then they go ahead and give it something that's even worse. Yeah, 170 special attack, 130 speed, the freedom to switch out of any other trapping moves. Mega Gengar just seems downright hideously broken. Probably the one thing I will say about Gengar that it loses out on in going Mega is just remember that it loses Levitate, so it can be hit with Earthquake now. Its physical defense is actually not that bad, but it does have low-ish HP, so interesting. That's probably all I'll say about Mega Gengar, because seriously, that thing is going on the ban list very, very quickly. And next we come to one of, surprisingly, the most hyped Megas in this game, Mega Kangaskhan. Now, it does get a bit of a boost in stats, but the main benefit to this thing is its ability, Parental Bond. This ability basically turns all of its attacks into multi-hitting moves that hit twice. This has several applications. The main application I've seen of this one so far that's been getting the most hype is Power Up Punch, which essentially gives Mega Kangaskhan 2 attack boosts in one go. Basically, you're getting a sword dance plus some damage at the same time. Very, very nice. Now, you could also try and abuse hacks by going for a double body slam. However, apparently Body Slam on Kangaskhan requires transferring all the way from 3rd gen, which means it's incompatible with Scrappy. Of course, it actually loses Scrappy anyway when it Mega Evolves, so that's probably fine. Speaking of losing Scrappy, you do have to watch out for that. Mega Kangaskhan will be more easily walled by Ghost types. The other thing you need to watch out for with Mega Kangaskhan is stay away from Ferrothorn. Yup. In fact, it's the Mega Kangaskhan itself is the very reason why apparently Rocky Helmet has become a much more popular choice of item lately. Because it absolutely wrecks Mega Kangaskhan. Seriously, if a Ferrothorn comes in on anything Mega Kangaskhan is doing, Kangaskhan's probably going to lose about 50% of its health right there from Iron Barbs plus Rocky Helmet damage twice. Yup. So again, Mega Kangaskhan, watch out for those Ferrothorns. Seriously, punching those spikes is going to hurt you pretty badly. Next up, Mega Pinsir, one I think looks very, very cool, and is actually very cool in concept as well. Funnily enough, finally, some people are saying that Pinsir actually has the edge over Heracross. It spent all its time in Heracross's shadow, but now, finally, it seems that people are considering Mega Pinsir actually better than Mega Heracross. And ironically enough, it actually adds Flying type to its typing. Normally, this would be considered terrible because, seriously, Bug Flying is one of the worst typings in the game defensively, and turning yourself into a Bug Flying willingly doesn't really sound like a good prospect. That is, until you see Mega Pinsir's unique ability, Aerialate. This ability transforms normal type moves into flying moves, and gives them a significant power boost as well, and that's before Stab, by the way. Basically, this has one option that is pretty insane. Double Edge. Flying type Double Edge coming off of this Aerialate boost is absolutely insane. And it's not like Pinsir doesn't have any other options in this regard too, it's just Double Edge is the one that's been getting the most hype. I look forward to some good things from Mega Pinsir. Finally, it's out of Heracross's shadow. Speaking of shadows, weird awkward segue here, but our next part Dark-type Mega is the one and only, definitely not a villain's Pokemon, Mega Evil Gyarados. Yeah, that's enough of that. Yeah, I ran into this thing in the main story, and I actually accidentally happened to learn the hard way that, well, it's part dark, and thus psychic attacks won't work on it. Interesting thing, I get this feeling that if Gyarados ever was made, like, now, after the Dark type was introduced, it would have always been Water Dark. It just seems kind of fitting for a Pokemon that's described as a massive force of destruction that kind of is used by a lot of evil characters. I don't know. But anyway, Mega Gyarados. Yeah, when I first saw this thing had a Mega, I was like, really? You really want to make Gyarados even stronger than it already was? But the funny thing was, I've actually kind of warmed up to Mega Gyarados for one main reason. Despite the fact that it loses its double electric weakness, it actually gains a lot more weaknesses than it used to when it goes Mega. Water Flying is a surprisingly good type combination, and Water Dark, you make yourself weak to a lot more things. For one, you're no longer immune to Earthquake, but you're also weak to Fighting, which is a very common type and often very powerful. You're now weak to Grass, which actually leads to a lot of Grass types walling you quite easily. In fact, Gyarados going Mega, I just realised how much Chestnut kind of walls that thing. You'll be surprised at how many OU things Chestnut is good against, actually. Well, it's mainly Tyranitar and Gyarados, but still. Gotta watch for Ice Fang, though. Of course, probably the main benefit of Mega Gyarados, really the stat change is not all that significant. I mean, it's not like Gyarados needed any improvement in stats, although that 130 base special defense is actually very nice. It's not like Gyarados really needed the extra stats anyway, but yeah, the new ability it gets is Mold Breaker, which essentially allows it to hit Levitators with Earthquake, which is kind of nice, and hit Water Absorbers with its water moves, which is also very nice, because I guess Quagsire is not going to like that. Or, does it bypass Storm Drain on Gastrodon as well? I think it probably does. Anyway, it's got a lot of interesting applications with Mold Breaker, so that's quite nice. Next up, we have Mega Aerodactyl. I'm sorry, but yeah. Apparently, according to the official website, scientists say this is probably what Aerodactyl originally looked like before it was fossilized. You guys sure about that? It looks rockier than before, and it's got a rock goatee. But anyway, enough about that. Mega Aerodactyl is basically all about the speed. Gets a massive speed boost and a fairly decent attack boost. The Tough Claws ability like Mega Charizard, not really much to say here. This is just another one of those Megas that's basically like the same as before, only just better stats, pretty much. Yes, these are probably the most boring of the Megas, but still, yeah. Like, yeah, again, it's basically same old Aerodactyl, just with slightly better stats, and, let's be honest, Aerodactyl did not like either of its two previous abilities, so exchanging them for an ability it can actually use is, like, massively, seriously, so much better than Pressure, because Aerodactyl, honestly, just, I mean, it could Pressure Stall kind of with Fly and Substitute and Protect, but really, yeah. Skipping over Mewtwo because that's Uber and I don't really care about Ubers. Next up we have, into the second generation, Mega Ampharos. Yes, Amphabulous. The famous one who got very popular for its hair. Interestingly, yeah, it's got very low speed, I think even lower than it was before it went Mega. Or is it? Let me just check. Did its previous form only have 35? Let me just check. Oh, alright, it is lower. It did have 55 previously. But anyway, Mega Ampharos's main benefit is that massive special attack, and with that low speed I can really see it being useful in Trick Room. It is Electric and Dragon type, which is actually pretty cool. And again, the reason for its gaining a Dragon typing is because its Japanese name contains the word for dragon, so yeah. It also has the Mold Breaker ability, but I guess hitting Volt Absorb things is really the main benefit to that, and the thing is, the vast majority of Pokemon that have Lightning Rod and Volt Absorb are either resistant or outright immune to electric anyway, so you wouldn't want to be hitting them with electric moves in the first place. Are there any abilities that interact with Dragon that Mold Breaker? I guess Mold Breaker lets you get through Sturdy, which is nice, and the odd Shell Armor or the like, but Sturdy's the main benefit. That's really all I have to say about Mega Ampharos. And then we come to probably the Mega that I am seriously the most disappointed in its existence. Really, Game Freak? You had to make Scizor even stronger? Really? Did you honestly think Scizor even needed anything like this? It was the #1 most used Pokemon in the game for a very long time. I do not think it needs another power boost of all things. That's what I originally thought. But now that I've actually played, oh well, I've not played against it, but now that I've actually seen Mega Scizor in action a few times, and kind of have a relative knowledge of what it can do, I'm actually not that scared of it. Really, all it is it's kind of like the Mega Aerodactyl and Mega Charizard Y. Basically, the same old thing it used to be, just with slightly higher stats. Honestly, it's basically the same as regular old Scizor, and it's got the same tricks. Swords Dance, hitting really hard with Technician Bullet Punch. That's really the main things it can do now. I mean, it's got a slightly better physical defense, but that's really all. And in fact, I'll be honest, I've actually seen more Life Orb Scissors than I have actual Mega Scissors, so yeah. It of course, it does have 100 base special defense, but it still dies just as easily to fire moves as it used to, so I'm not actually so intimidated by this one anymore. Interesting, like, I got terrified of it at first glance, but now it's like, again, same old Scizor, and considering it's been so popular, pretty much everyone knows how to counter it, so not actually that intimidating, really. Next, we have one of the most downright bizarre Mega Evolutions in the game. Mega Heracross is just plain, well, weird. It gets a massive boost to attack. Like, honestly, its attack stat is downright insane. In fact, did it even surpass Deoxys? It might have even surpassed attack Deoxys, which is ridiculous. And its defenses are quite good, as is its HP. However, its speed takes a little bit of a hit, and it's kind of weird. It's kind of transformed itself into a sort of a mighty glacier Pokemon, if you will. I kind of liken this thing to a stationary turret, which is a little odd. I didn't really see Heracross going that direction. The whole stationary turret issue is further compounded by its ability. Skill Link? When I first saw that, I was like, what? Skill Link? That is interesting, to say the least. The main benefit of that is moves like Rock Blast, which I believe it does get, Arm Thrust, which actually isn't that strong even when hitting 5 times, and Pin Missile. But it's interesting, and maybe Bullet Seed as well. It's an interesting concept, but I can't help but feel that it's a bit, well, not exactly that well applied. So, I don't really have that much to say about Mega Heracross, because to me it just seems downright bizarre. The other thing that I find a little annoying about Mega Heracross is, with the others, you can at least try and keep your opponent guessing as to which Pokemon on your team, because only one of them is allowed, is going to be the one to go Mega. With Heracross, though, it is very hard to bluff not being Mega, because it really requires a very specific moveset. And the moment your opponent sees Arm Thrust or Pin Missile, they're like, right, that's the thing that's going to go Mega. You've immediately given away the surprise, so it doesn't really do a good job of hiding itself either, so a little iffy about this one, I must say. Next we have one of the ones I didn't actually expect, Mega Houndoom. Mega Houndoom is kind of like, again, one of those more of the same Pokemon, in that it's basically just regular old Houndoom with better stats. However, it does get the Solar Power ability, which is actually quite nice. Could form quite a good thing on Sun teams. Of course, you can't combo it with Mega Charizard's Drought because, well, you can only go Mega once per battle, so it's either the Houndoom or the Charizard. So you'll need to combine this with Ninetales, and you'll need to keep that weather up as far as options go, because, well, yeah. But anyway, Mega Houndoom does get a lot of things that it can abuse in Sun, like Solar Beam and Fire moves. But mostly I just like this thing because, seriously, it looks pretty cool. I mean, who doesn't love the whole bone armor look? It's pretty awesome. Next, we have Mega What the Hell Was Game Freak Thinking Tyranitar. Yeah. Why they need to make Tyranitar even better, I'll never know. Really? Really? We kind of knew about this one a little beforehand, but still. Now, given how popular Assault Vest Tyranitar is, I actually don't see this Mega form being used that much, but still, if you want to make Tyranitar even more ridiculous than it already is, go ahead. And speaking of making something already ridiculous than it already is, let's go to the one Mega that I believe was completely and totally unnecessary, and that I think Game Freak made a horrible mistake in even creating. Mega Blaziken. When Blaziken on its own, without Mega, with Speed Boost, was considered enough to be banished to Ubers, did you really feel the need to make it even stronger? Really? Really? And you know what's even more ridiculous about Mega Blaziken? The fact that it is guaranteed to have Speed Boost, regardless of what ability its previous form had. This means that all those moves that were previously illegal with Speed Boost are, haha, no longer illegal with Speed Boost anymore. Yeah. Yeah, not much to say here. I believe this thing has already been banned, and, yeah, it's very hard to see why. Thankfully, I have not run into one online yet, which I'm kind of glad about, and I really don't want to speak too soon there. But anyway, seriously. Anyway, let's go on to the next one. Our lovely lady in the big dress that has a actually better than even chance of being male, Mega Gardevoir, the champion signature Pokemon. I may have already talked about this a little bit when I battled the champion, but yeah, Mega Gardevoir has a pretty nice base special attack stat, much better speed. It is still a little frail on the physical defense side, so you got to watch for that. Psychic Fairy, just like all its previous forms. So I will say, Psychic Fairy is a very, very nice type combination, and I haven't actually mentioned that before, but things like Mr. Mime getting that, I will say, honestly, I don't understand why Mr. Mime was retyped to Fairy, but it does work because Fairy is a very good complement to Psychic. It covers your Bug and Dark weaknesses, and gives you an immunity to Dragon for free, and it's just pretty awesome overall. And hey, Poison is not that much of an issue because you're already super effective against that. So anyway, Mega Gardevoir. Now the main thing of note here is its ability, Pixelate, which is like Aerialate, turns normal moves into fairy moves. Now the main move here is, well, if you've watched one of my online battles, you will see an application of this in Fairy Hyper Beam, otherwise known as the Dragon Nuker. You kind of saw one of my dragons take a hit from that, and yeah, that's like the definition of overkill. However, that's not actually the best option, but the best option will be only available when Pokemon Bank comes out. You see, Hyper Voice was a move tutor move back in 5th Gen. Back then, very few things actually used it. I mean, why use a normal move for special if it's not stabbed, and most of the things that liked having stab Hyper Voice already learned it by level up anyway? However, Gardevoir now has a A-base power, Fairy-type special move that is stab and stronger than Moonblast with the Pixelate boost. This could be very interesting. The main downside of this is it requires a route transferred over from 5th Gen, which means it's a lot harder to breed for good IVs. But hey, if you want to settle for only 1 or 2 perfect IVs, Mega Gardevoir with Fairy Hyper Voice is a nice option. And of course, now we have the big one. The big one that's getting all the hype at the moment, Mega Mawile. I honestly could not be happier at Mawile getting some attention. It was pretty grossly underpowered before. Now, Mega Mawile, its main benefit is, well, Steel Fairy is a very nice type combination, but even better is Huge Power. Huge Power off a 105 base attack stats. Let me just put that in perspective here. The maximum attack stat of a Mawile at level 50 is 172. 172, that is with a plus nature. And maxed effort points, yeah. 172. 172 is actually pretty good, even by normal standards. But guess what? It's actually double that. You may now faint. Yeah. Mega Mawile is a ridiculous powerhouse, and it can boost its attack even higher with Power Up Punch. Of course, the main thing that Mega Mawile has to watch out for is its speed. It is actually quite slow, however Trick Room can fix that, but if you're not playing on a Trick Room team, the main way to get around that is Sucker Punch. Now, the thing about Sucker Punch is, considering that the vast majority of Mawiles rely on Sucker Punch to deal their main damage and to hit things before they get hit in return, Sucker Punch is often painfully easy to see coming. And if you do, it's very easy to play around Sucker Punch. So for all those out you using Mega Mawile, you will need to be better at your opponent on the prediction game. Watch out when you're using Sucker Punch, because if your opponent sees it coming, they will punish you for it. And we have the next one. Now, Mega Aggron is very interesting. It's a Mega form that is, again, like Mega Venusaur, focused more on defense than on offense. And this is actually kind of an interesting, and amusingly, an interesting case of a Pokemon actually becoming better defensively by losing a type. Yes, Mega Aggron loses its Rock type, giving it much better defensive typing, and the ability Filter, reducing the damage from super effective moves. Mega Aggron is meant to be one thing and one thing only, a gigantic defensive behemoth on the physical side. It's interesting. It's hard to say how popular a Mega that's more focused on defense will be, considering that a whole lot of things that are a whole lot of the other Megas are more offense-based. But Mega Aggron certainly has interesting potential. One thing you gotta watch out for here is don't use Head Smash on it. Don't use Head Smash, trust me. You no longer have Rock Head, and you no longer have Stab. You wanna do Head Smash, Stab, Rock Head, try Tyrantrum when that's released, not Mega Aggron. Next up is Mega Medicham, which is actually pretty interesting. Mega Medicham, once again, has a very nice base attack stat, very decent speed, and the pure power ability, doubling its attack stat. It'd be amazing if it weren't for the fact that Mega Mawile was also introduced in the same generation and does basically the same thing. Yeah, I get the feeling Mega Medicham is really going to be left behind in favour of Mawile. But anyway, Mega Medicham does have its unique advantages, mainly that it's faster. And that's kind of it. Medicham is a very interesting Pokemon in terms of its general success story, because it was incredibly popular back in 3rd Gen, and it's just really fallen out of use despite the fact that it hasn't actually changed much. I guess, yeah, the Mega Evolution finally gives it a chance to attempt to keep up with the power creep. Whether it will succeed or not is, well, we'll have to wait and see. Next is Mega, my polygons are jutting out of my own body, help me please. I mean Manectric. Yeah, when I first saw what this Mega looked like, I was like, Yeah, I will admit this thing looks a little bit weird, but let's just not talk about that. Mega Manectric is interesting, given that its main stats are base 135, which is actually not that high by Mega standards. It does, however, gain itself the Intimidate ability, which automatically triggers the moment it goes Mega, which is kind of cool, I will say. There really isn't that much else I can say about Mega Manectric, though. 135, while good by normal standards, is just not cutting it by Mega standards, so I really don't see what the main benefit of this one is, and it loses the special attack boosts potentially from Lightning Rod, so little weird here. Next we come to Mega Banette. Now in this case I will talk about design slightly, because Mega Banette looks like it was designed by Tetsuya Nomura, aka the guy who does the Kingdom Hearts designs and is obsessed with zippers. I'm joking here, but seriously, look at all the zippers on this thing. You wouldn't blame yourself for thinking that the Kingdom Hearts guy came up with this, honestly. Zippers. Anyway, so I guess the reason why Mega Banette has all these zippers is so it can tell its opponents to zip it with Prankster-boosted, status moves. Hey, that wasn't awkward at all. Anyway. Yes, Prankster. Prankster is the main benefit to Mega Banette. It has a really good physical attack stat as well, but the main benefit is gaining that Prankster ability. Unfortunately, it has serious competition when it comes to Prankster users, so whether or not Mega Banette will be able to break into the Prankster scene, I don't know. But anyway, that's pretty much all I have to say about, you know what, I really feel bad for not focusing on this thing that much, so let's see what it gets with Prankster. I mean, obviously, it gets like Will-O-Wisp, but anyway, let's see what it gets. Oh, Prankster Curse. Interesting. Does cost half your HP, but it's an option. Screech, Spite, Will-O-Wisp is the main one. Snatch is already a priority move. Prankster... Oh, Prankster Trick? Prankster Trick is not bad. I wonder if anything else gets Prankster Trick. That's actually not a bad option, actually. Prankster Grudge could help if you know you're going to get KO'd that turn. Prankster Toxic, Prankster Taunt, Prankster Sunny Day, lol. Prankster Rain Dance, also lol. Prankster Double Team, ooh, get it away from me. Prankster Torment, Prankster Rest, Prankster Attract. Prankster Thunderwave, Prankster Psych Up, Prankster Swagger, Prankster Substitute, that's actually not bad, Prankster Confide, no, Prankster Confuse Ray, Prankster Destiny Bond, Prankster Disable, those are all quite nice, Prankster Foresight, not really, Prankster Imprison, Prankster Telekinesis, nah, Prankster Magic Coat, Or is that already priority? I don't know. Prankster Magic Room, Prankster Pain Split, Magic Room I think already has priorities, I don't know. Prankster Skill Swap. Prankster Skill Swap is in. That gives someone else Prankster. That's interesting. I'm sure that someone could find an interesting use for any of those moves I just read out. So, hey, I challenge you all, come up with a use for at least one of those things that I read out. Anyway, next we're up to Mega Princess Absol, Mega Absol. Mega Absol is actually quite interesting, and I actually do quite like it. It's got good speed, very good physical attack. Again, like Absol's main issue before was its speed. It has a very big jump in speed, so it no longer needs to rely on Sucker Punch to do good damage. Also has, actually not that bad special attack, so it can go mixed if it wants. It has Magic Bounce too, so the moment it goes Mega, boing, you can try, predicting things like... I don't know, Magic Bounce is a little less useful on like a lead or something, but you can go ahead and try and predict things, like them using like Spikes or Stealth Rock and go, Mega Absol, boing, and their entry hazards go right back at them. Pretty nice that, and I'm actually quite liking Mega Absol stat-wise. I think I could really find a good use for it. Speaking of stat-wise, hello Mega Broken Face. Mega Garchomp, aka Brokey McBrokenface, as I've already said, is actually interesting. Despite having an absolutely monstrous physical attack stance, its speed is a little lower, only base 92. 92 is actually not that bad, but it's less than it used to be. And that makes this thing a bit more manageable, especially with Protean and Greninja running around, who will seriously do a real number on this thing with Ice Beam. I'm honestly not as scared of Mega Garchomp as I should be. Of course, it does have the Sand Force ability, which boosts the power of things like Earthquake and Sandstorm, so yikes, that partner with Excadrill and Tyranitar, wow. But anyway, not much else to say about Mega Garchomp. That speed loss could be its downfall. Of course, Togekiss also is immune to both of its stabs, so hey, you want to troll Garchomp, bring your Togekiss. And now we have Mega Lucario. Now, Lucario has always been a favourite of mine, considering that, for not the same reasons that most people think. Again, like I've said, the reason why I love Lucario so much is that it's just so versatile. Lucario has a ridiculously enormous move pool, and it's capable of doing so much. Which I think it's such a shame that competitive battlers seem to think the only thing it's capable of is Swords Dance physical attacking. Hey, it gets Nasty Plot, it's perfectly capable of going special. In fact, all the Lucarios I've trained up have actually been special, but anyway, that's beside the point. It's got a lot more options than that too, but anyway. Interesting thing about Mega Lucario is, its stat-wise, it really appreciates the extra speed, that's the main benefit, but it also appreciates the extra attack and stats. Again, it's basically more of the same. Same old Lucario, basically, just with slightly better stats. Main benefit here is adaptability, which is actually kind of nice. Previously, adaptability would not be considered that good on a Steel type, because Steel was not that good of a stab type. But now, with the fairies running around, having double stabs on Steel is actually quite nice. And Lucario might actually have an excuse to use things like Flash Cannon now, considering previously it basically never did, because its fighting coverage covered everything Steel did and more. Again, now with the fairies, it might actually use its Steel Stab now. And of course, adaptability on Fighting Stab is pretty crazy, especially with adaptability close combat. I mean, ouch, that's pretty painful. And next we come to, sadly, since there are no more, our final Mega Evolution, Mega Abomasnow, which kind of looks like it sort of puffed itself up like a puff of fish or something. I don't know. Looks kind of weird, but hey, it's still pretty cool. Still keeps its Snow Warning ability, and as the official Pokemon website actually pointed out, going Mega will cause your ability to trigger again, which means that if the opponent has changed the weather earlier in the battle, going Mega with Mega Abomasnow will actually change it right back, so could be an interesting trump card like that. Still Grass Ice, so still suffers from a lot of bad weaknesses, but hey, that's nothing Didn't stop regular Abomasnow being used for its hail, if only because it was the main thing that could do it. And it has much better defenses and very good offenses in both stats. It does lose a lot of speed, but that doesn't really seem to matter. I don't think Abomasnow really cared about speed anyway. Now, Mega Abomasnow actually seems quite popular in the Japanese environment, according to a few articles I've read, mainly in doubles, but still. So it is actually one of the more popular Megas. I guess Abomasnow does kind of benefit from having a Mega form, because its original form is not all that great. I forgot what a regular Abomasnow's stats were, but they were kind of, Oh yeah, regular Abomasnow's stats were actually pretty weak, for the most part. Nothing really higher than 90, so... yeah, really does appreciate the extra stats, so I guess that's why. Now, you might be thinking that I have already gone over all the Mega forms. Actually, that might not be the case, because there are images that have been found floating around online of what looks to be Mega Latias and Latios. Now, some people have claimed to have revealed stats for these at this point, but at the time of making this video, I'm still going to take them with a grain of salt, especially since these stats originated on 4chan. But anyway, though rumour has it, okay, according to the rumours, Mega Latios will have base 180 special attack and have adaptability, and I thought Dragalge's adaptability was scary. And Mega Latias, if the rumours are to be believed, will be Dragon Fairy, which is actually a pretty sweet type combination, as it makes you immune to one of Dragon's main weaknesses. Other dragons. Is pretty cool, that. So, I won't say any more, because again, the stats of these are just rumours, and from what we've seen of images, yeah, it's a little hard to tell whether or not it'll be distributed by a future event or something, or whether it'll be DLC, or whether it will just be given to us in a future game, or whether it confirms a Ruby and Sapphire remake! No, just kidding. Who knows, it actually might, but anyway. And so, that's about all I have to talk about Megas. So, you've heard all my thoughts on the Megas, all my thoughts on the new Pokemon, and I think it's probably time to close off, so hey. Wow, I've spent a long time talking about the 6th generation, but here's to this generation. I think it's going to be amazing. Already looking awesome. So again, here's to this generation. Yep, I'm hoping for a really great Gen 6. Hopefully it lasts longer than Gen 5. A lot of interesting things here, and hope to see you all on the online battlefields. So, until next time, later.